Hey guys, and welcome to a brand new video here on FPL Now. Today we're going to be going over some transfer targets ahead of the Game Week 7 deadline, some players that you should definitely think about bringing into your squads. So if you're excited for the video, make sure to drop a like down below, leave a comment who's on the top of your transfer list this week, subscribe if you're brand new, and let's get into the video. So starting things off, we have Mitrovic, the Fulham striker. Honestly hit the ground running this year in the Premier League. We all thought he was going to just recreate what he did a few seasons ago where he scored like 3 or 4 goals in the whole season. That is not the case this year. He is already on 6 goals from 6 appearances. Seems a little bit fixture proof as well. He did score against Spurs at the weekend. So that was a really nice goal as well. Of course, they did lose that game, but doesn't matter if your striker's still scoring, you're still getting points. He hasn't actually got any assists so far this season, but you know, that's not a massive problem when he's banging in goals left, right, and center. His XG is actually ridiculous for the first 6 game weeks of 5.44. and his expected assists are 1.31, but expected goals of 5.44 is honestly ridiculous for a player that's in like a Fulham team as well. Like, those numbers are something you'd expect for like Haaland or like Salah or something like that. But with Fulham being a newly promoted side, haven't made like a ton of transfers this season either across the transfer market, so really good numbers for Mitrovic as well. He's had 8 big chances and put 6 of them away, so a really good conversion rate, and he's also had 22 shots in the box as well, so that's exactly where you want him to be, in the box, having shots. Doesn't really pass the ball too much. It's exactly what you want from a striker, and he's cheap as well. He's the cheapest of like the new strikers as well, out of like Tony, Ivac, and everything like that. So I think he's a really nice option. Of course, does have Chelsea at home in Game Week 7, but again, Chelsea have been so bad at the back. I definitely think that it's okay to bring him in this week. We all saw them lose in the Champions League last night. I don't think this is a fixture that Mitrovic is really going to be scared of. It's at home as well, so that's obviously a boost. And then as well after that, you've got him for Forest, Newcastle, West Ham, and Bournemouth. And the fixtures are a little bit like, they're decent as well after the next 5 too. So I don't think there's anything wrong with bringing in Mitrovic this week. I think he's such a good option, so clinical in the box, as you can see, putting 6 goals away out of those 8 big chances, and he's on penalties as well. And when you've got a player with this conversion rate, he's on penalties too. He's cheap as well for like the points that he's getting. I honestly think that he's the best striker option to have in your team. A lot of people are wildcarding this week or next week and changing from like a 5-3-2 to like a 3-4, like a 3-4-3 or a 4-4-2 or whatever. I definitely think 3 strikers are the way to go this year. You've got Haaland as one of them. I mean, Haaland has to be in every single team. He's just ridiculous. And then your other 2 strikers, obviously there's a lot of options. If you're selling Salah, you can bring Kane in. Even if you're not selling Salah though, you can still make Tony and Mitrovic into your team, or Tony and Ivac, or Mitrovic and Tony, or whatever, whichever combination you want to go with. So I don't think it's really necessary to sell Salah, because you don't really know where to put those extra funds unless you're bringing Kane in. But I don't necessarily think you need Kane. Like, both Tony and Mitrovic are on penalties this year for their clubs. So, yeah, Mitrovic, really good option. Really good stats going forward. Yeah, and I think he's fixture proof. I don't think you should be worried about that Chelsea at home game. Next up, we have Pascal Gross. This player is definitely having the season of his life, 100%. He's had so many price rises already. He's scored 3 goals so far this season in 6 games. He's also assisted twice as well. The big point about this player though is on set pieces. He's on like corners and stuff like that. Well, most set pieces. He's definitely on corners. He took so many corners at the weekend against Leicester, it was ridiculous. He took like 4 in a row at one point. His XG is 1.79, which isn't too bad for a midfielder. That's, you know, you wouldn't really class him as like a proper attacking midfielder, but he's just been so good this season, getting into pockets. He's been pushing forward, and it's really just been benefiting him. His expected assist of 2.67 as well. He's had 3 big chances and he scored all of them, so what more could you want? And he's had 5 shots in the box as well. But again, the main thing is that he's on corners, and Brighton are quite a tall team as well. You got like the likes of Duncan stuff in the box on corners. The only bad thing about this player is that he's not on penalties. If he was on pens, like, he would be an absolute steal in every single team. So I think if you're bringing in Gross this week, I think it's fine as long as like you're wildcarding in Game Week 9, because if you're bringing him in like for next week or whatever, or you're not wildcarding, you've already used a wildcard, you've got him good for like Bournemouth and Crystal Palace in Game Week 7 and 8, but then he's got Liverpool, Tottenham, and Brentford. So Liverpool and Tottenham in Game Week 9 and 10 isn't great, but of course if you're wildcarding in Game Week 9, you can just bring him in this week, as not really necessarily as a punt, because a lot of people already own him, and you know he's going to get you returns, hopefully against the Bournemouth game as well as Crystal Palace. But then you can just wildcard him out in game week 9 where he's got Liverpool and Tottenham. So yeah, if you don't have your wildcard, I don't necessarily think he's a bad option because he's cheap. He's probably one of the better 6 mil option midfielders this year. You could always bench him for the Liverpool-Tottenham game, but even though like Liverpool haven't been too good defensively this season, Tottenham you could easily sneak a goal in on a set piece or a corner. I don't think there's anything wrong with playing him in those games. It's just, you know, if you don't want him for those two, you can easily wildcard him out in game week 9. Next up, we do of course have Ivan Toney, another striker that a lot of people are bringing in on wildcards this week. Of course, fresh off a big boy hat-trick at the weekend. He scored 5 goals across the first 6 game weeks and assisted twice. XG of 3.39, which just goes to show like how good Mitrovic's XG is, because Toney has scored a hat-trick, and you know he's on penalties and everything like that. And his XG is 3.39, and Mitrovic's is like 5 point whatever it was. So again, just goes to show how good Mitrovic actually has been this season. But either way, Toney's XG of 3.39, expected assists of 2.21. He's had 7 big chances and put 5 of them away, so a pretty good conversion rate there. And also he's had 12 shots in the box. You want your strikers to be in the box having shots, because that's where they're most likely to score. And the next fixtures aren't too bad either for Toney at all. He's got Southampton away in game week 7. Then he's got Arsenal at home, which is a relatively tough fixture. And then Bournemouth away, which is obviously a really nice fixture. Newcastle away, which is a bit more tough. And then Brighton at home. I feel like Mitrovic is probably going to haul in like maybe 3 out of the next 5 game weeks, whereas Toney, I could only see him hauling twice, which is against Southampton and Bournemouth. I don't think he's going to haul against Arsenal. Again, probably going to eat these words. Don't think he's going to haul against Newcastle, and I don't think he's going to haul against Brighton. But Southampton and Bournemouth, I could definitely see. I mean, like, even Bournemouth could be a captaincy option. Like, he could easily absolutely go off in that game as well. Another player that's on penalties as well, though. He's a little bit more expensive than Mitrovic, but only by like a 0.5 mil or something like that. I should probably have the prices on these cards. I'll do that for the next video. But yeah, he's only a little bit more expensive than Mitrovic. But fresh off that hat-trick, a lot of people are going to be bringing him in this week regardless. But I think the whole debate between Mitrovic, Toney, and Ivik, I would probably go Mitrovic, Ivik, and Toney. But it depends if Ivik's on penalties as well. But either way, that's Ivan Toney. Next up, we have Trippier. I was going to put Ivik on this as well. He is also a really, really good option. There's just not a lot of data necessarily to kind of like compare him to like the likes of Toney and Mitrovic, so I'll probably include Ivik in like the next week's transfer targets video, especially because next week he's going to have Bournemouth at home, which is literally the best fixture of the season, that or Forest at home. But either way, Trippier, he's scored once so far this season. He hasn't assisted anything, which is kind of crazy because he's on set pieces, he's on free kicks, he's on corners, and he hasn't had an assist yet this season. Of course, he is a defender, so his XG and expected assists aren't going to be too high. His XG is only 0.32, expected assists of 0.82. He's had no big chances and he's had no shots in the box, but you're not really going to necessarily think that a player like Trippier is going to have shots in the box. You're mainly bringing him in because of his bonus point potential as well. Like, he's on free kicks, he can easily bang one of those in. He's on like other set pieces as well, he can easily get an assist from that. The fixtures that are coming up, West Ham, okay, that's quite a tough fixture, but West Ham have been really hit and miss this season. Then he's got Bournemouth, Fulham, and then Brentford, and then United. And I honestly think that Newcastle United game will be a really, really good game. It's at home as well, and I could see Newcastle winning that. But yeah, the main thing, like I say, he's on corners, he's creating a lot of chances. So that means he's just going to be higher up on the bonus. And again, we all saw at the weekend, you know, obviously Nick Pope got max bonus, but Trippier got 2 bonus just because he created like 5 chances off like set pieces, 6 chances in total. So if you've got a player that's just going to keep swinging the ball into the box like that, then you know you're going to have a lot of bonus points. So yeah, Trippier, I think he's a really good option as well if you're getting rid of, I don't know, like Cucurella maybe this week or James this week or something like that. I don't necessarily think, I don't know, it's weird because Chelsea is so bad at the back at the moment, but Fulham away, do you really want to sell like James and Cucurella just before that game week? And you don't really want to sell your Arsenal defence either because they've got Everton and then Brentford. So yeah, I'm not sure what player you would get rid of Trippier for, but I think that he's going to hurt you not having him, especially in game week 8. That Bournemouth at home fixture is a really, really nice fixture. And then finishing things off, we do have Marcus Rashford, who's kind of just been going under the radar really, but of course got a massive haul against Arsenal. He scored 3 goals in the first 6 game weeks. He's assisted twice. He's got an XG of 2.07, expected assists of 1.45. He seems to be favourable under the new manager, a lot more than Ronaldo anyway. He's starting every single game. And he's playing pretty well as well. He's had 4 big chances. He's put 3 of them away, and he's had 12 shots in the box, which is, you know, it's decent, especially for his price point as well. He's like 6.5 mil. He might go up to 6.6, but either way, very, very cheap for what he can produce. The thing about United players is it's another kind of situation. Do you bring him in now for a punt and then get rid of him on a wild card? Because they've got Crystal Palace and Leeds, which are 2 really nice fixtures, especially that Leeds at home fixture. That is like mouth-watering, because we all know the rivalry between United and Leeds, and some of the scorelines in the past in that game. You know, Rashford could have an absolute day out. But then they've got City away as well in game week 9. So you could wildcard him out in game week 9. But then he's got Everton and Newcastle. Everton, quite a nice fixture, but then Newcastle as well. Again, quite a tough fixture. But either way, I think that he's definitely worth a punt if you're wildcarding in game week 9. It's just, do you keep him after that? But I don't think there's anything wrong with bringing him in if you are going to wildcard. Either way, though, that is going to be everything for the transfers this video. I mean, there's a few other players as well that I'd mention, like, say, Ivak as well. He's obviously been playing really, really well, and he's had some good stats. I just don't know. Because he didn't play the first 6 game weeks, I'll probably include him in the next video. But either way, that is going to be everything for today's video. I hope it helped you out with your transfers this week. Make sure to drop a like if you enjoyed. Let's try and hit 50. Leave a comment. Who are you thinking of bringing in this week? Subscribe if you're brand new. It's everything from me, though. Have a fantastic rest of your day. And until next time, peace.